Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hold the Vision podcast. This is episode 3. We are back. Can you believe it? We've done 3 episodes now. Oh, that's a lie. We've done 2. We're on our 3rd one now, and we are back another week. And can you believe it? We are actually on time for the first time ever. Can you believe it? We are actually on time. I mean, do you know what it is? I'm going to put it down to Carl, right? Because normally we work on black people time, and Carl said, screw you guys. Now this black people time stuff. I'm around now. Yeah, he's be on time, okay? So, Carl, we thank you, okay?
You're welcome.
So, you haven't joined us before. Let me introduce the rest of the team. So, we are joined, first of all, by the Whole Division First Lady, Miss Chidi. Miss Chidi, Chidi, bang, bang.
Hey, guys. Namaste. Love and light.
Namaste. Peace be with you and all that good stuff. We are also joined by a man from a different time zone, all the way in sunny Australia. Mr. Carl.
Good morning. How are you all? Oh, afternoon, evening, that one.
Good night.
Well, to be fair, we'll let Carl off because right now it's 7 o'clock in the morning where Carl is. So we'll let him off.
Here's the sun.
There we go. There's the sun and we got nighttime. We're also joined by our very own mind, body and soul. No. Mind, body, soul. Let me get it right. Miss Cher.
Hey, guys.
And of course, myself, DJ Sticky Fingers.
The one and only.
Good
Well,
morning.
the one and only, apparently so. Now, if you're new to our show, if you're new to the podcast, this is what we do. We do 2 topics, right? We got a serious topic, we have a fun topic. We also have in the middle, well, it's actually Ask Millie, but Millie's been away for a little while, so it's now called Auntie Calm. So it's like our agony aunt, Auntie Calm. And we end the show with the words of wisdom by Cher. Now, our first topic this week is depression and mental health. That's our serious topic. Our fun topic is it okay to still date when expecting a baby? Now, the way that question's worded, right, if you realize it's not if a woman or a man, it's actually left, so it's gender neutral, so it can be either way. So that's our two topics for this week. Now, as I said, our first topic is depression and mental health. Cher's going to kick us off, but before we go to Cher, what I thought I would do is just give you some facts and figures or some stats about mental health and depression, all right? Should also say it comes with a trigger warning as well. Obviously, we're not here to offend anyone. I'm just giving our views on real life issues, all right? And to be honest with you, this particular topic was actually requested by someone who wanted us to talk about this. So we said, of course we will, because again, the show is for you, all right? So if you request it, we'll do it. As long as it's within reason, of course, all right? So there's some stats, some facts and figures in regards to mental health, right? So I read this morning. This came from Mind, so they do like mental health. So if you need to check them out, Google Mind. And they said, right, I'm going to read this off their website. It says, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem of some kind each year. 1 in 6 people report experiencing a common mental health problem like anxiety or depression in any given week in England alone. Yeah, they said that in any given week, 8 out of 100 people will have mixed anxiety and depression. 6 in 100 people will have generalized anxiety disorder. 4 in 100 will have post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. 3 in 100 people will suffer depression. 2 in 100 people will suffer phobias. 1 in 100 people will suffer obsessive compulsive disorder, commonly known as OCD. And less than 1 person in 100 will suffer panic attacks. There's also other stuff they got on there as well. Stuff like 2 in 100 people will suffer bipolar in their lifetime and things like that. They also said 1 in 5 people have suicidal thoughts, 1 in 14 people will self-harm, and 1 in 15 people will attempt suicide. So there's some facts, figures, stats. That's all from Mind. You can check that online as well, right? So as I said, we're going to start off with Cher, our very own mind, body, soul. I always get that wrong and she corrects me and I get into trouble. Cher, let's go to you first. What's your views or what's your feelings on mental health and depression and things alike?
I think mental health is a very common thing. Across the world, especially in these times that we're in. And I feel like, there's a big stigma still based around it. I think it's kind of it's kind of getting better, but at the same time, mental health is very common. And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to speak up about it. With my mental health platform, Mind Body Soul UK, because I do mentoring with people and stuff, a lot of people have said that they don't speak to anybody. Like, they literally don't speak to anybody about how they're feeling, what they're thinking. And, you know, I feel like that is an important thing itself, because if you're going through stuff and you're not speaking to anybody about it, then I feel like that itself is a big issue. Do you know what I mean? And speaking to the right people as well. Do you know what I mean? The right people who listen and understand. And yeah, I just think when it comes to mental health, I just think it's really important for you to do whatever personally feels right for you. Because I feel like as humans, we all have different ways of coping or different ways of dealing with things. And my way of dealing with something might not be the same as somebody else's way of dealing with something. So I think it's really important we discover what works for us and just dig inside ourselves and, you know, really try to understand what's going on in our mind and just connect to ourselves more, you know, because I feel like connecting to yourself is very important, because a lot of the time we're just, so much is going on in life and we're just, you know, going to work, or some people might be looking after children, or, you know, just everything's moving really fast, when sometimes it's just nice to just slow down and just be in your own space and think about things clearly. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I would just say that if anybody is going through anything, you know, just try not to keep it inside, because I feel like that itself is the worst thing to do. And yeah, you can check out my platform as well, Mind Body Soul UK. Do mentoring sessions and all that kind of stuff.
No, wicked. It's definitely a few things in there that I'm going to pull out, right? So first, as Cher said, actually, I'll start off with, please check out on Instagram, on IG, Mind Body Soul UK, right? As she said, she does mentoring, right? A couple of things are in there. One of the first things that Cher said, it's not just in the UK, it's worldwide. And again, I know the stats I gave at the beginning were to do with things happening in England. That was the website I found, obviously, it's a British website. But again, Cher is right, it is worldwide. Second thing that Cher said in there was, which is, I'm going to ask you about this one, is Cher mentioned about people not speaking up. Why do you think people are not speaking up? Or what's the fear, or what's the reasons why we're not speaking up more in regards to this, or speaking out about it?
So I think, I mean, in regards to depression, sorry, I thought, were you speaking to me or Cher? Sorry, I thought you asked me. Sorry,
yeah, I was going to Chiz, but you know, Cher likes to jump in it. So yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, go on.
I'm done. I should not be laughing at this point, but I am. No, I think in regards to like, you know, depression and mental health, I think depression is something that I personally dealt with. And I think I'm going to talk from my own personal experience on this. And one of my biggest reasons for not speaking up was because I am sort of seen as a strong person, especially like in regards to family as well. It's like, no, you haven't got time to, what do you mean you're depressed? You're not depressed. Fix up, carry on, you know? It was like anytime that I kind of tried to talk about it, it was just, no, fix up. You're stronger than that. You're better than that. It was seen as a weakness. And, you know, it's not, I don't think it's not because, you know, your family might not care about you, or the people around you might not care about you. It's just a lot of people are not very educated on it, and they're also not willing to talk about it as well. Something they're pretty much get swept under the carpet. I mean, now there's a lot more of awareness about depression and everyone's mental health. And, you know, there's a lot of things out there. You need to take care of your mental health. It's very important. Self-love includes mental health also. And another reason I believe why people don't speak up on it, I think it has a lot to do with when it comes to like gender. So with men, a lot of men don't speak up about mental health because men are perceived as, you know, they're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to get on with it. You haven't got time to be depressed, or why are you feeling this way? It's almost like they're not allowed to. And I a lot of, you know, I speak to a lot of people when I do my one-to-ones and stuff, and I speak to a lot of men. It's more men than women, and they just feel that they can't disclose that to their families or to their friends. You know, I've got one guy that I talk to, and he's got a very man's man friendship group, and he said he spoke to one of his good male best friends, and he said to him, "No, what do you mean you're not depressed? Don't be such a wuss. Like, what are you crying for? Like, fix it. We don't do that." And it's just, it broke my heart to listen to that, because I just think it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody suffers at some point. Everybody suffers with their mental health at some point in their life. It doesn't matter to what degree or what level it is. We all suffer. We all get days where we might feel a little bit low, or where things are getting too much, life's getting too much, the work rate's getting too much, family, pressure. There's so many different reasons out there as to why we might feel a little bit low. And I just think, you know, people need to be, they need to be more mindful, need to educate themselves on mental health, just because, you know, I had a manager one time. She said to me, you know, I'm just checking up on everyone's mental health and blah, blah, blah. You know, I've been lucky. I've never suffered with my mental health. And when she said that, I thought, yeah, you have. You definitely have. You're just not acknowledging it. And I think when we don't acknowledge it, that's when it becomes dangerous. And that's when, unfortunately, a lot of people lose their lives and lose their battle to mental health, because they're not opening up on the severity. And I think a lot of people also think, you know, if I speak on it, do you know what? I spoke to, I was speaking to a family member of mine, and she always says, there's always someone out there who's going through worse than you. And I think that is such the wrong thing to say to people, because what might be, it doesn't invalidate what's going on in your world. It doesn't make your feelings any lesser just because somebody out there's starving, or somebody out there, you know, might have lost someone the day before, or somebody's dying, or it doesn't matter. There are levels to mental health, and it doesn't, I wouldn't put it on a scale. I really wouldn't. Mental health is mental health. Depression is depression. Anxiety is anxiety. Doesn't matter what level it's at.
All right, definitely a lot in there to take in. I think one of the things I'm going to come up to a call with, but I'll read some messages first. We said about people not speaking up, and, you know, you telling family and they're not taking it as serious, I suppose. And I think, I'm sure we can all, you know, what's what I'm looking for, can relate to that feeling, or knowing what our families can be like at times. Carl, before I come to you, let's read some of his messages quickly, right? Hoyt, my brother Hoyt, says many men suffer from depression and anxiety for that very reason. A lot of men feel like they can't share what they are dealing with. That's a good point. If you haven't already, make sure to Hoyt out. Hoyt's got a YouTube podcast on YouTube called No Truths Barred, to make sure that out as well. DJ Empress says, trust us, it's a big thing. Okay, trust is a big thing. Okay, you can't just open up to anyone. All right, so I'm saying that, you know, maybe that's one of the reasons why maybe people don't speak up more, because they don't feel they can or trust what people are going to say. I mean, that's with confidentiality as well. You're worried that other people might judge you and think of you differently if you do disclose it, I suppose. So that's a good point. Oreo3, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. If I haven't, I apologize. Says, yeah, it's true. And sometimes if they aren't healed or low-key suffering with the same, it can trigger them. Okay, fair enough. Peely85 says, Some cultures don't understand or believe in mental health. They have to be educated. Some also believe they are helping by saying fix up or man up. I think I'm back to what Chidi was saying as well, about people, saying that, they can do more, or other people going through worse things. Hoyt also says we have to definitely change the way we look at mental health as it relates to men. Many men are more likely to commit suicide. Here in the States, when I was growing up, seeing a therapist, therapist or mental health issues was considered something white people go through. Okay, I think many people use substance abuse to manage their mental health growing up because they had no outlets. Actually, on that, right? So Hoyt is from the US. Speaking of mental health, I'm going to read some more messages in a second. Speaking of mental health in the US, right? I watched something this morning on Instagram, and Lil Wayne, the rapper Lil Wayne, talks about his mental health, and he actually said he tried to commit suicide when he was a teenager. Now I think he was 13, and he shot himself in the chest. So he said, I went and got my mum's gun. I put the gun to my head initially, and he said, I didn't put it to my head. I thought, no. He said he put it to his chest, and he shot himself in the chest, trying to commit suicide. So, and that's the rapper Lil Wayne, very famous rapper Lil Wayne, admitting that he tried to commit suicide when he was under 16. I think he was 13 at the time. And imagine that. Imagine your 13-year-old child trying to commit suicide because they don't feel that they can come to you to talk to you about it. I mean, come on, messages. Becca Beck says, as a therapist and a trauma coach, I see this all the time. Clients regularly tell me they feel shame for seeking help because of other people and have it so much worse. So, let me read it again. Clients regularly tell me they feel shame for seeking help because other people have it so much worse. Okay, right, I get what you're trying to say there. Carl, coming over to you. I mean, what's your views on this? I mean, is there truth in this? I mean, why is it, what we're doing?
There's absolute truth in everything that's been said right now. Just touching something on what Empress just said then, it is, I think personally, is so important to find that one particular person that you can connect with and that you can open up with. You might not find that person straight away, but I mean, look, depression and speaking to other people about it and trying to work things out for yourself, it's a process, and you need to be on the right line of finding out how you deal with that for yourself. Everyone has a different path and journey and different methods on how they work out things. So yeah, Empress, you're like totally on the ball there. I mean, look, everything that I kind of wanted to touch on has been said already. Men's mental health, yes, there's massively a stigma against her. Chidi knows I've contacted her many a times, and I've had my breakdown moments. There's heaps going wrong in my life, and I'm like, what's the point? Well, why am I doing all this? But I'm luckily enough to be able to grab that moment and go, all right, stop now, and shake it off. Chid knows I'll have a scream, rant and rave, cry, whatever I got to do, and then I clear my head. So luckily enough, I got that codependent in Chidi to be able to do that with. So yeah, I mean, look, that I just want to reiterate, trying to find the right person for your situation or to help you. Don't be afraid about it. Everyone will go through some sort of thing in their life, and it's not a big bad thing to ask for help. Don't be afraid that, that's one thing I will say social media has helped with something, is open up the conversation about mental health and to get people to interact with each other. You might find it more comfortable to meet with somebody online and speak with someone you've never even met before, or just to send out a little message and just to hear those few kind words back might put you back into a good state of mind to be able to think a bit more clearly on something. It's just about seeking out the right arrangement for you, and hopefully you find that the first time around for yourself. But the Lil Wayne thing where you were saying just then, that's another topic as well, about guns and stuff, and having being able to grab certain things like this. I mean, if you got things lying around, that could have been a life ended, and then he could not have been who he is now. So to have things like that lying around, especially with teenagers, hormones going up and down everywhere you want, and you don't need that sort of influence because we all have these dark days where we go, what's the point? teenagers go a bit more drastic with things, sadly. And that could have been the end of life. So, I mean, this is down to the parents also in helping and guiding your children, you know, being a bit more in tune with your kids and just checking in and seeing if they're okay, not sending them a text message to see how are you, actually having a conversation.
Yeah, I agree. And funny you should say that, because what Lil Wayne said in the interview, right? He said that from that moment, his mum's life changed forever, the way she viewed. I think what he was trying to say is that prior to that, he couldn't really speak to her about how he was feeling about things. He didn't feel like he could speak to her about it. And he goes, after that, she changed as a person completely, and it had a different relationship. So there was a positive, I suppose, in it, but it's a really drastic thing to happen for it to make a change. But something I want to touch upon, I'm going to come back to Cher on this one. I know, I think both Chidi and Carl said about finding someone to speak to, but isn't there a bit of a danger in terms of you're speaking to a friend? So like Carl said, he confide in someone. Isn't there a bit of a danger if you have a friend that you can confide in, not that we share too much, but we put too much of a burden on, I don't want to say burden is the wrong word, but we can feel like we're kind of draining their energy as well. Is it, because imagine if you've got someone that's constantly depressed come into you, it can also drain your own energy too. So maybe should we not encourage people more to go and seek, per se, professional guidance in that sense? I mean, what's your views? Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm lucky. Chid and I have an understanding. We've known each other for many, many, many years. Like, I don't call Chid on a weekly and go, oh, this is going on. It's like, it's a once in a blue moon thing. And I've got to be driven down to my lowest before I'll actually talk about it myself. So, I mean, look, I'm lucky I have that connection with Chid. So not everyone will have that. But yeah, I mean, look, it is probably more important to find somebody else that's not in your scenario and that can think outside of your box. And so with somebody where they don't know everyone around, because whatever the situation is, you don't really want to involve someone in everything else that's going on. So I think that is important. Yes, you should find somebody outside, but I am lucky I have Chidi.
Which is a good thing. And I mean, again, I can't remember who said in the comments about speaking to friends. Sometimes I think DJ Empress, and I think you mentioned it before about the trust issue as well, because someone can be your best friend and then you'll become your worst enemy who you sat there and cried with, and had you so much walk from your face and you're dribbling, you got snot and all the lot. They're there to tell you about yourself. When you get on each other's nerves. Do you want to mention this quickly? Someone from Orange Light. Orange Light says, healthy boundaries are important to set by every person. Very important for some to be able to say until here, but no more now, as it gets too low vibe. Okay, I see what they're saying. DJ Empress says, professional help waiting list is pathetic. Okay, which is a good point. Most things on NHS can be quite difficult and long to get, but if it's that important, maybe it's worth spending the extra money. Orange Light 123 says healthy communication with available support is important in community, I believe. That's a good point. I mean, do we do enough as a community or within our social circles to help everyone's mental well-being? Do we do enough? Could we do more?
I think we could, as a society, just to be able to pick up the phone and just check in. If you got someone in your family or friends and you got that connection with, and you haven't heard from a while, checking in is a really good thing. Just to say, how are you? You don't need to go deeper. Just that how are you could change someone's perspective. But I just want to say something as well on the NHS thing. Somebody I know, close to myself, didn't ever need or want anything from the NHS. And there was a lot of turmoil in their life, and went and needed help. She then had to wait over a year and a half for a counselling session from the NHS, but paid into that system the whole life. Didn't ask for nothing. And actually, I think the year and a half came, the appointment got cancelled, and she never heard back from anything again. So why are these services there when, I mean, look, this person was on the blink, and it wasn't good. So when these services are there and supposed to be there for people to use, they're not there.
I totally agree. They're not there. And I think this is why, as a society and as a community, wherever we live, this is why we need to build different platforms. Like when I first started posting on Instagram, it was through sheer depression. I was at my lowest point. And I thought, you know what, the only way that I can, my way of kind of dealing with it, or something that I did to help me deal with it, was to put stuff out there, start posting quotes. Because if it resonated with one person and then it resonates with another person, and then you end up you share your stories. You might not put, I don't put my personal life online or whatever, but initially when I first started, it was a cry for help. It was a way of documenting things. And then there was so many people that reached out to me and said, you don't know what that did for me, because it's exactly how I'm feeling. So I think we need to talk, and we need to communicate more with each other as a society, instead of doing the whole thing. If you haven't heard from your friend in a couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks turn to a couple of months, you haven't heard from them, instead of taking that shit personally, what's wrong with you picking up the phone and saying, do you know what, I haven't heard from you, you okay? And then sometimes you don't know what people are going through. People could be going through hell, but they'll still, just because they're going to work, just because they're still posting, just because they're smiling and they're doing all these things, doesn't mean that they're okay. It could just be a facade. It could be a mask. So I think just as a society, we need to come together as a collective and, reach out to people. Even if it's just are you okay? I'm just sending you love. You don't know what that does for people.
It goes a long way.
It's funny you should say that, right? I'm going to read some messages in a moment, but it's funny you should say that. And I think Carl touched upon it as well in regards to reaching out. I think there was a story recently where a parent found their child who had been dead in the bedroom for 2 whole days. 2 whole days dead in the room, and they didn't know that the child was dead in the room, in the house they live in, that they shared, lived together. 2 whole days.
And they got the communication. Wow. Yeah,
exactly. See some of those messages. Peely says there are so many levels of depression. Sometimes the people around you cannot help you deal with it. It may require professional input, so it's good to seek help. And I should just say, actually, if you are just tuning in, we are talking about mental health and depression, right? So again, a bit of a trigger warning, and we do have a fun topic in store as well. And we've got Auntie Carl, which we're going to talk about in a minute, or Auntie Carl. But yeah, we thought it was a good topic to talk about. Actually, it was actually a request from one of you guys, listener or viewer. So we thought we'd do it. DJ Empress says it's a slow procedure. And PD's also agreeing, again, going back to what Carl was saying about a friend waiting a year and a half, and then the appointment being cancelled. Sounds about right, with our government. Hoyt says, I would recommend journaling if you feel that you can't share your battle with mental health anymore, with anyone, sorry. Back to what Chidi was saying about, she was documenting it on Instagram. And Orange Light 123 says, as a collective, we all need help time to time, and it's hard to judge who comes first, I guess, in the waiting list. Within community, there should be spots available to release and get one-to-one talk or help. Yeah, definitely agree with that.
One thing I just want to say now, I personally found a real good thing for me to do is find that one thing that motivates your brain and inspires you to have fun. That really bloody helped me personally.
And don't forget as well, check out Cher's page on Instagram, Mind, Body, Soul UK. And it's Mind, Body, Soul, not Mind, Body and Soul. All right? I got told off by Cher. I got told off by Chidi today. And I keep getting told off because I keep saying Mind, Body and Soul. But it's actually Mind, Body, Soul UK. And that's on Instagram, right? So we check it out. I followed the page already. You might see me like or comment on there as well. So we are halfway through the show, and we need to talk about we suck our agony aunts. It's normally called Aunts Millie, but Millie's been away for a little while. She's taking a break, holiday, sabbatical, call it what you want to call it. So now it's gone from Aunts Millie to Auntie Carl. Now this is where Chidi will give Carl a scenario, and will not Carl's views are on this. Chids.
Are you ready for this one, guys? So, Auntie Carl. So, I've just started seeing this guy. We've only been dating for about 5 weeks, but things have progressed pretty fast. I've spent most of my night staying over at his. He's even given me a spare key. I really like this guy, and I can see myself having a future with him. There's just one problem. I found out that I'm pregnant. It isn't his. It's the last guy that I was sleeping with. I really don't know what to do. I don't want an abortion because it goes against everything I believe in. But at the same time, I'm scared that this guy is going to cut me off. I really don't know how to tell him. What shall I do?
So pregnant from cheating or pregnant from before?
No, just pregnant from before.
All right, okay. Yeah, okay. So that's a bit of a shit situation, sorry. But at the same time, you are not going to be able to lie much longer on that. You're going to grow. So how about fessing up and stipulating what the hell went on? It's clearly something that can't be rectified. You're pregnant and it happened before. So you have to go and tell. You cannot go in forward into that relationship and not disclose that. And look, if he doesn't want to be bothering with you, then you have to accept that, because taking on yourself and a child is a different scenario totally. Not everyone's ready for kids, and to have a kid in these days is fucked. I don't have them myself, but no, I bring up kids in these days. Kids are fuckers. They're assholes to each other. You have no boundaries in how you control it. Nah, that's just a different scenario that I don't even want to get into. I would never have a child, put it that way. Now you got to fess up, hon. You got to. Yeah, I mean, you can't continue to go and be in a relationship with somebody when you have a life grown in you, and you might be lucky. He might take it on. You don't know until you have to tell. You have to. But he has to have that choice. You can't just let him go through more emotions growing into that pregnancy, growing more feelings for you. And like, shame on you for actually not saying in the beginning and allowing the keys to be given to spend that much time with that person. And if you know that all along, shame on you. Nah. And if he does walk away, you've got to understand why.
Shit then. No sympathy from Carl.
No.
None whatsoever. But I'm surprised that so many things have happened so quickly in 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Got the key already after 5 weeks.
Red flags.
No. 5 weeks. I'm going to come to Shay. Shay, what would you do in that scenario if that was you?
Takes me 5 years to give a key. What would I do?
Yeah.
If I was the girl?
Yes.
No, if you were the guy.
No, if you were the girl.
You have to tell the truth. You have to tell. I wouldn't be in that situation. But if I was, you just have to tell the truth, because you're pregnant. Like, what can you really do?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wake up and my tits lactating all over your bed. What's that wet from? Oh,
oh my God. You said that.
Oh, read some messages. Hold on. Peely says she needs to tell him and don't lie and tell him it's his.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Because as soon as she says I'm pregnant, what's he gonna think? He's gonna think that's mine, isn't it? Oh. Mm-hmm. Orange Light 123 says no coincidences. There's always a blessing hiding in what we see as hurdles. I like that. Very positive outlook. DJ Empress says, Peely, you're right, sis. Before I move on from DJ Empress, I was going to have a go at Empress, because the Empress sent me a message during the week, or last week, I think it was, and she was insulting my forehead, okay? She said, Sticky, you got a very large forehead, but I'm not going to say anything, and Empress knows why I'm not going to say nothing, but I'm just going to pull it out there. She said I got a large forehead, okay? So, just leave it as that. Oriel 3 says, I know someone who took on a pregnant woman. They were dating and she told him he was okay about it, but that's very rare.
That's what I mean. It could be that. You could have that connection. That person might be invited in, welcome to embrace that journey.
It's very true. Peely says that's some paternity court shit 25 years later.
Maury.
So if you are just tuning in, we're doing the Auntie Carl section, and Chidi has just dropped a bombshell. So there's a young lady who is dating a guy for 5 weeks. She's even got the key to the place, but she is pregnant from her previous relations, obviously more than 5 weeks ago. But the new partner does not know what should she do? Chiz, what would you do?
I mean, I'd cry first. First and foremost, you gotta have a good cry in it. You know, the cry where you got snot coming out your nose and bare ugly crying. I would do all that, do the most. Maybe tell a friend. But I would tell him, because you cannot listen. You cannot be out here, not disclosing things to people that you're in, a potential partnership relationship with. It's unfortunate. You met the guy. I think it's a thing where this person met the guy, didn't know she was pregnant off the bat. Like, she didn't know. She just found out, obviously maybe missed a period, found out in between, but she's 100% sure that it's the previous guy. And I don't know, she's in a bit of a sticky situation, isn't she? But she has to tell him. She does. She has to tell him, because he's going to know anyway. He's going to learn, and he's going to be like, I don't know what he's going to be like. It depends on what kind of guy he is, isn't it? But she has to tell him regardless. And just maybe, listen, if he's that into her, and, maybe he'll support her or whatever. If they can't be together, maybe they could be friends. I don't know. But my man's given her a key, like, in 5 weeks. She's staying, practically living at his house. Got a little more than an overnight bag, So,
I mean, also, he's bound to know there's a tension there, because her mood must have changed from when finding out. And why is she still continuing to go there every night?
It's just awkward, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Like, she's
getting out of it. No getting out of it.
Can't get out of it. No, definitely not. He might be all right with her, though,
Let's read some of his messages. Peely says, man, it's huge, Sticky. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. DJ Empress says, pull the headphones forward so it covers it a bit.
Wow.
But keeping in mind, right, our first topic was like mental health and depression. You see that inserting my forehead. Honestly, I tell you. My good friend Zaza, who's still yet to message me in my inbox, my DMs, says, the thought of saying is worse than the outcome. She's assuming his reaction, but if he walks away, don't take it personal. She's about to be a mum, a true blessing.
Yes.
I like that. Zaza, don't forget to hit me up, okay, Zaza. Artist Substance says, I think women should respect their baby at least and don't sleep with the new man. But to be fair, the caveat to that is that she didn't know that she was pregnant before seeing the new guy. And the new guy has only been 5 weeks, but she's got a key already. Orange Light 123 says, larger forehead are a beautiful feature in East Africa. I embrace mine and decorate my forehead with jewelry and marks. Represent, bro. There we go. You see what I'm talking about? Now we're talking.
I got a big forehead. Always wear stones down my forehead. Yeah, sticky. Yeah. I'm going to get you some jewels, some sticky jewels, sticky ones.
Fair enough, thank you. Thank you for that. But we're talking about this lady, right? We're talking about her being pregnant and the new guy. Do you know what's right? Our final topic is, believe it or not, is it okay to still date when expecting a baby? That's our fun topic for this week. Good segue, right? I like what you did there, Chids. I like it. Thank you.
It was good, wasn't it? I saw it. It
was good.
I did well.
You did indeed. So the question is it okay to still date when expecting a baby? Now, I'm going to give you a bit of background on this. Like, this is where this came from. There was a post recently, I think during the week, there's a young lady who's pregnant, and she's saying that she's going on a date, and she was then asking, is it okay for her to date while she's pregnant? But Chidi has turned it around so that it's not just about the women, it's also about men who are expecting babies as well, but are no longer with the expected mother. Are they okay to still date too? To keep it gender neutral. So, I think Chidi, you're going first on this one, right? If I'm not mistaken. I want to hear from the guys in the comments as well. Guys in the comments, let me know. Is it okay to still date when pregnant? Okay, Chids, what do you think?
Okay, first and foremost, I'm not pregnant yet, and I ain't gonna date whilst I'm pregnant either. Not out here to judge, but when I was having my daughter, I couldn't stand a father but I stayed with him to obviously try and make my family work or whatever. But let's just say I was pretty much single, innit? I didn't have time to think about dating. I didn't have time to think about conversing with anyone. I didn't have that kind of time because all I was thinking about was I was bringing another life into the world. And that's all I could think about was my baby. I didn't give a fuck 9 times out of 10 what I wore. Like, never, let alone get dressed up to go out on a date. I mean, people do it, but that's your business. But personally, I just wouldn't. Like, that is just, it's confusion. Yeah, you're entitled to a life, but at the same time, that child didn't ask to be conceived. That child didn't ask to be brought into the world. So why are you dating whilst you're pregnant? Like, why are you doing it? I don't understand. Like, what? Don't get me wrong. I mean, could be a situation, obviously, I don't know. Nah, there's no, that's not for me. It's not for me. And men who date whilst they're expecting a baby with somebody else who they're never going to get judged, you know? They're men do what the fuck they like. So no one's really going to ever say anything about that. It's not seen as the same. But I think when you're a woman and women bring life, they give forth life, they're nurturers, you should be concentrating on how you're going to be a mum. But then I've seen it. Like, I've seen women and they got all 4 or 5 kids already, one on the way, and they're still with next man and doing a madness. I just don't know. Me personally, like, with dating comes, like, I don't know, there might come moments where it's like sexual attraction or whatever. What, are you gonna bounce on that guy with a big belly? Are you gonna do that? Are you really gonna bounce on a next man with a bit, you know, say you're 6 months pregnant, showing round belly, and now you're going to do that? And you're carrying someone. Nah, I ain't here to judge, but no, it's a no from me. It's a Simon Cowell no as well. Sorry.
All right, so that's a firm no from Chidi. Before I come to share, let me read some of his messages quickly. Orange Light says, go sis, you know it. Artist Substance says, cool tin, yes. Orange Light 123 says, it should be up to the woman. Every woman is different. I think generalization of what should be is the foundation of depression and self-doubt. PD says, focus on the baby. A relationship should be the last thing on your mind if you're not with the child's parents. No judgment. DJ Empress says she needs to keep her backside quiet. Oh my Lord. And do something constructive. Izan Kim says hi. And Orange Light 123 says, every person is different, I think, and trying to get everyone's angle in life is impossible. It's a good point. I agree with you there. But maybe I'm going to ask Orange Light this question. Orange Light, would you date if you were pregnant?
Ooh.
There we go. Would you date if you were pregnant? And let's give it a time scale. You're 5 months pregnant. Okay? 5 months pregnant. Would you date if you're 5 months pregnant? Oreo 3 says, I wouldn't do that personally. I think it's a tricky question, but usually you're nesting. The baby is, you're nesting. There we go. The baby is growing. Don't want to be creating soul ties with random men while you're pregnant. No way.
Exactly. I agree. It's about energy. You're putting all that energy into your baby and that. No, don't do it.
If you are just tuning in, if you're still joining, shout to Eat Kim says, good evening all. She said you nearly missed it again. If you are tuning in, want to know, would you date? Basically, want to know, would you date? Or is it okay to date if you're pregnant? You're expecting a baby. Shem, if you're 5 months pregnant, would you be dating?
Okay. I'm not going to personalize it towards me, first of all. I'm gonna say it depends on the situation. You know, I think it depends on the situation. Like, for example, we don't know, the woman could have been raped. Do you know what I mean? So is that to say she can't go on a date now? Do you know what I mean? Or it could be a situation, like I know somebody who, she was pregnant and then obviously she broke up with the baby father, but then she got into a relationship after that while she was pregnant. She was honest with the guy and said, you know what, I'm pregnant from a previous relationship. And then she ended up being with the other guy for years. So I think it just depends on the situation. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, I feel like people see the world differently. So whatever works for people, works for people. But me personally, I wouldn't be dating when I'm pregnant. Obviously, unless it's my child's father, then we can go on dates. But apart from that, nah.
Just think you need to concentrate.
I just think it depends on the situation, because I don't want to judge. Yeah.
It's hard.
I don't want to judge when
Because
I don't know
wanna
people's
judge.
situation, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
for me personally, I wouldn't.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about my mindset.
And I think
when I was
the same with
pregnant.
men as well. Like, I don't. Yeah.
Right, so sorry about that. There's a bit of a technical issue there. We've got a bit of a delay in the in time at Zoom for you. So what I'm going to do, before I come to Carl, I'm going to come to Carl next, because we also got to do our words of wisdom from Share as well, right? So Carl, I'm going to come to you next. No, but before I do come to you, Carl, let me read some of his messages. Peely says, I know it's a baby, but you have to be careful who you are bringing around your children. Zaza, who again still is yet to message me in my inbox, because Zaza's my new good friend, says, it's a personal decision, and a person might meet the best person. Personally, I wouldn't, though, personally. Okay, fine. Orange Light 123 says, I would try and spend the time with who is the father, but would wait for dating personally. Okay, so we did ask Orange Light if she would do it whilst pregnant, and said she would wait. Zaza said soul ties. I think she's talking about me again. Yeah, so I'm with you, Zaza. Just you and me. You and me, girl. Orange Light 123 says, it takes investing in a new relationship and with a new baby and a new man, where is the woman left? Let's read that again. It takes investing in new relationships and with a new baby and a new man, where is the woman left to? Okay. So balance is really baby, and self comes first. I don't get what they're trying to say there. Some may still need emotional support. Obviously, I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, so apologies. I was trying to read it correctly, but it was just grammatically wrong. So just let me know what you're trying to say. I get myself in trouble now. Carl, I'll come to you. Carl, would you date a woman who...
Yeah, no. Stop sticking in his tracks there, didn't I?
God. If you met a woman, she said she's expecting a baby, would you continue the relationship?
My mind flicks between yes and no. Are they right or are they wrong? Who's to say? Who's to judge? Back on what the girls say. Okay, I'm painting the Hollywood scenario. You're with somebody now, have an awesome relationship that didn't work out too well. You move on to the next person and you get pregnant. It doesn't work. Yet you realize that the first relationship was worth everything you fucked up for, and you get back together. Why shouldn't you date? If you know, and obviously this, the pregnancy is known, why shouldn't you be allowed if that relationship's done with? But also at the same time, isn't your energy really just taken up by getting ready for having the baby born?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think every scenario is different here. I don't ever want a kid, just reiterating that. So I'm most definitely not dating someone pregnant, or any man who wants to have a fucking kid. No fucking way. Done. Over. Kids are specimens. So are adults. So no.
Beautiful specimen.
Specimen, yeah. Yes. They carry around bloody germs and from nursery. They give you everything. Not for me.
It's not a lie.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I think it really depends on the scenario. But then why should you be ostracized for having happiness at the same time?
It's true.
And just to say, if you are dating and you're pregnant, that doesn't mean you've got to go and lay down with a man. To go out on a date, to go out and have coffee, go to the cinema, do these things.
Yeah,
why are we automatically thinking they're having sex? That woman might not want sex right now. She's pregnant or at whatever stage of a pregnancy. So also bear that in mind. Why should somebody be starved of happiness? So yeah, she should be allowed. And the guy sense, who knows? That scenario could be the mum to be and father do not get on at all. She's going to make it a hard time to see the kids. So why wouldn't he be able to go and have a date? I don't know. It's all very different scenarios, and it depends on the individual circumstances.
Yeah, definitely down to the individual. I think it's a lot easier for men though to just continue dating. It's not.
Oh, they're not carrying a life.
Yeah, they haven't got a life growing inside them, so it's a lot different. I just think. I mean, where you said, you know, the part where you said, why should a person be deprived of happiness and stuff, like if it's just dating, if it's going out with people or whatever and doing that I don't see a problem with that, because people do that anyway. But it's just the whole sleeping with somebody whilst you're pregnant, like
that might be the last thing on her mind.
Each to their own. Because I know a woman who's done it as well, and I'm just like, for me, because of how I feel about energy, I just don't think I could do that, knowing that I've got a life growing inside me.
I couldn't be poking around with a life growing. No.
Yeah, not even having my child's father, not even having the baby's father, because I knew how I didn't even want to sleep with my child's father when I was pregnant. To get me, so to go and sleep with another man, it's just something that I personally couldn't do. But people can do it. It's just, I don't know. It's an energy thing for me. I can't. Got to be careful when you're having a baby. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough. So Carl's very much reading some of these messages. Peely85 says Sticky is the best. Okay, thank you very much. Orange Light 123 says, so Orange Light apologizes and says, sorry, try to squeeze it in. I meant to have a balanced pregnancy. The woman has to be able to fully invest in her new baby and her changes. Yep, definitely agree. Yet some women may not have a secure social circle to receive emotional support. No coincidences, right? So really up to the individual woman. And DJ Empress says, can't wait till next week, Chids. Hands up emoji. Not sure what that's about, but they're both just as bad as each other. I'm not sure who's worse. To be honest with you guys, I'm not sure who's worse out of Chids, Cher, Peely85, Isan and Kim, DJ Empress. No, you're in it as well. And Carl. Like, before we went live, right? Carl started insulting me. Carl was insulting me before we went live. Cher, I won't even start on Cher, stuff she says.
Don't believe anything Sticky says.
Oh, where's the violin? Wow.
Well, exactly. So, right. We've got to do, we didn't do it last week, but we're going to do it this week, is our Words of Wisdom by Cher.
Yeah. So I based this around, since we discussed mental health, I based it around self-love and self-care. Self-love and self-care is sometimes silencing the mind and tuning into your soul. Whatever makes your soul feel good, whatever brings you peace, and whatever radiates truth is what you truly need to align with. And this starts within you too. Once you tune more into your soul purpose becomes clearer, and you align with what you're meant to, rather than what's pulling you back and pushing you more towards your ego. Stepping outside your ego can put your mind at ease more, because you are being true to yourself. Yeah, that's all I wrote.
Do you know, I think you need to give that to us again, you know. Give it to us one more time, please, Cher. One more time.
Again, did it freeze?
It was a bit of a robotic voice, babe, so maybe stand back a bit and do it.
Shall I read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Self-love and self-care is sometimes silencing the mind and tuning into your soul. Whatever makes your soul feel good, whatever brings you peace, and whatever radiates truth is what you truly need to align with. And this starts within you too. Once you tune more into your soul purpose becomes clearer, and you align with what you're meant to, rather than what's pulling you back and pushing you more towards your ego. Stepping outside your ego can put your mind at ease more because you are being true to yourself.
Yeah, that was
Perfect.
beautiful.
Thank you for that. I think that's very fitting and a good, nice way to end the show this week.
Was it robotic?
Little
at the end.
A little bit, but it was okay.
Yeah. We'll see something just quickly. So I've already said DJ Empress comments for next week. DJ Empress also says sticky jog on. Peely85 says you need a zip for your mouth. I think something about chids and share there. Orange Light 123 says love this. Thank you, sis, for sharing. Okay. I think thank you for sharing this, please. Isan and Kim says sticky fingers. They're at you again. I know it's jealousy. Isan and Kim, it is jealousy. I'm telling you. Zaza, who's my good friend Zaza, says love this. Can you guys do a podcast about ego?
Yes, of course, definitely.
I'm gonna say Zaza, where you been? We did ego versus soul, but we can do it again. We can do it again for you, Zaza. Again, Zaza, don't forget my inbox, okay? DMs, DJ Sticky Fingers, all right? Orange Light says, I closed my eyes and received, thank you, sister. I'm talking about shares words of wisdom. DJ Press said it's beautiful. And Orange Light 123 says, heard every word though. Excellent. Love that. So look, we've only got about a minute or two left. So I've got to say thank you all for joining in. Thank you all for participating and getting involved. Thank you for the words of wisdom by Share, and thank you for actually commenting that you liked the words of wisdom by Share. It was very nice. Don't forget, if there's any topic you want us to talk about, feel free to let us know. We will talk about it, not a problem at all. Hoyt says powerful, and Milan says, Zaza, you can DM us. We won't forget. No, that's right, because Milan is Milan's part of the team, by the way. Okay, so Milan will be back. Zaza, feel free to send us a DM in regards to that. I mean, obviously, you can send the DM about that topic to the group, but the pun to me personally, okay, throwing it out there, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously we're back next week. What we do next week, Chids? What's happening next week Wednesday?
So next week Wednesday, I'm going to be having a one-to-one discussion with a special guest. So I'm looking forward to that. But I just wanted to say to everyone who's watching, everyone who has jumped over and supported the YouTube channel as well since we rebranded the podcast and stuff. Just thank you so much for your love and support and the good energy that you leave in the comments. It's so nice. I leave the podcast and the energy is a beautiful energy to feel. So just wanted to send love and light to everybody out there who's watching. Whatever you're going through, keep going. Like I always say, because the end result is always beautiful.
Definitely. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Don't forget, we are back, obviously, every Wednesday, 10 o'clock. We were actually on time for once. It's the first time we were on time. And I said I put it down to Carl, because Carl said, there's too many black people here. You don't run on black people time. Yeah. Carl's like, I'm very white. Look, we need to run on time here, okay? So now in this 10:15, 11 business, he's at 10 o'clock. He let us off. We got a 5-minute grace period.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
In a bit of my bloodline, I've actually have Egyptian, so I'm part African also. So fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, but that's too far down. You're always on time. Zaza says, "Oh, sorry, I'm a bit late." Don't worry, Zaza. We'll still do it. Don't worry. It's always good. We like your comments. Orange Light says, "Great space here. Give thanks to you all. Thank you as well." And Peely says, "Whoop whoop," but Peely's useless. She says that Jill Scott is better than Beyonce's. We won't go there. But look, guys, until next week. We'll see you all next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.